Hey everyone, it's Albert Ramirez with the Ramirez team.
And Jennifer Morris with All Western Mortgage.
So Jennifer Morris, as you all know, is our preferred lender. We love her. We make an awesome team together because we have your best interest in mind. So today, she's here today to talk about a couple of things that we really don't even understand. Some of us agents don't even grasp on it sometimes. So she's going to break down 2-1 buy downs and permanent buy downs and some loan options where we're taking money, moving money around, maybe from the seller, maybe from a builder, whoever we're working with, the lender, and we're giving you credit and we're putting some money in your pocket and buying down your loan and interest rate as well. So why don't you elaborate on that?
Okay, so you're hearing the word 2-1 buy down or buy downs in general. For the average person, they don't really know what that means. They kind of understand, but of course nothing is free in this world today.
No.
So yes, you start at 6.5%. And all of a sudden you get a 4.5% rate for 1 year. Well, guess what? That costs money. So 2-1 buy down, let's talk about it.
Okay.
2-1 buy down is a buy down program that basically you have to make up the difference in the interest between the life of the loan rate, which is like, let's say 6%. So the first year, for the first 12 months, it would be 4%. Only for 12 months, okay, you get the reprieve of the lower interest rate. The second year, the next 12 months, it's at 5%. So it's 2% and then 1%, and then for the third year through the life of the loan, it's the higher rate at 6%. That's your fixed rate. It's always a fixed rate. It's just they give you a little bit of reprieve on the interest amount for those first 2 years. So what we do on a 2-1 buy down is we figure out what the start rate is, and then we figure out the cost difference. And so you say, okay, well, who pays that cost?
Yeah, who pays that? That's what I was going to ask you.
And how do you determine that? So we figure out the difference in interest for 12 months, for 24 months in those two interest rates versus what the rate is actually supposed to be at. And that's how we determine what the cost is of the buy down. And normally the seller or the builder pays that. And that's negotiated with your offer if that's something you want to do.
Okay, so that makes sense. So what we do initially in the first part of the contract is when we submit an offer, we're negotiating for you for seller concessions. And so that's a fancy word of saying how much is the builder, seller willing to help you with closing costs. And so that's part of where that money goes towards helping with that 2-1 buy down. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the one thing I want to say on a 2-1 buy down is who is that loan for? Okay, mm-hmm. Is it for everyone? So if you're buying a much more expensive house, you don't want to go in thinking, oh, I can afford the lowest rate possible and I can afford the house at that price, because that's not going to be your price for the payment for the life of the loan, okay? You need to make sure you understand what that means. You need to be able to make sure you can afford the payment that you're going to have from the third year through the 30th year.
Okay, that's good, because you don't want to get in a home that, we say, I don't want to be house broke, or we don't want to buy too much. We need to live below our means a little bit. So what that looks like is we get excited at first. We get the home of our dreams and the interest rate's a little lower. And man, that first year comes by and then boom, our payment goes up.
Now, is there some pros to that loan? Absolutely. It is a great loan because it would give you the option to be prepared for the higher payment if the seller's willing to pay for it, and you just put some money away. So you can prepare yourself and save some money for the first 2 years. So don't think it's a bad loan. It is an actually very attractive loan, especially if the seller is willing to pay for that.
And that's good. So when the seller concessions, what we talked about a while ago, when they're willing to help with that, instead of you bringing that money out of pocket for closing costs or your down payment, you keep that. And so what Jennifer's saying, put that away, put that in your savings, and then when that payment does increase a little bit, you're covered. All that money can go towards that additional monthly payment in the second year, third year,
Absolutely.
And so on.
I think it is a very good loan, especially if you have a job situation that you're in a new line of work that's your salaries are gonna increase, and hey, or you've got a kid in college for the next 2 years, and you just need a little bit of reprieve. We all know what that feels like for the next 24 months to be able to pay for college while we have a house payment. Just a little bit here and there helps, but it does help you get into the house. Just be prepared for that higher payment later on. But by no means is it a balloon payment. No means is it an adjustable rate. Do not let that scare you. It is still a fixed rate payment.
And that's a key component of the 2-1 buy down. It is not what we were experiencing pre-crash 2008.
Right.
Okay. So there's another really cool loan that you do very similar, but it's called a permanent buy down.
Absolutely.
This sounds exciting.
Yeah. So it's basically, you hear it all the time, hey, can I pay points? Can I buy down my interest rate? So instead of the fluctuation of a 12 months at this rate, 12 months at this rate, and then this is, hey, for the life of the loan, can I buy down the interest rate? So instead of going in and having a fluctuation of interest rates, you take that money and go ahead and buy down your interest rate right now, pay what they call discount points, and go ahead and buy down the interest rate to where you get a lower payment for the life of the loan.
Very nice.
Yeah, they do. So I would tell you about a 1% of your loan amount gets you about a quarter lower in interest rate. That's a guideline. It's not the rule, but it is a good guideline.
Cool. So let's break that down. So $500,000 home.
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to cost us to buy that point down?
$500,000 is going to cost you. You can get a quarter lower in interest rate for $5,000.
Okay, cool. So that right there is, and that's pretty. It's not exact, right? But we're just giving you a ballpark figure, very almost accurate ballpark figure. But about $5,000 will buy a quarter of a point down.
Yes.
So that gives you an idea. If you're putting 10, 15, 20K down, you can buy an entire interest rate point down for the duration of the loan.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. So save up that money, get your savings stacked up so that when you go to buy a home, it gives you a lot more options.
And that is also something a seller can pay as part of the seller concessions. They can use that instead of doing the 2-1 buy down. You can look at a permanent. Some people are okay with the 3-step process. Some people want a little bit more security across the board and just want to go ahead and buy it down for the life of the loan. So, because they plan on being there for a long time.
Yeah, and that's great. And if that's your plan, because a lot of times we say, 3 to 5 years, people are ready to move again. The average, people are moving an average of 5 to 7 years. They're putting their house on the market, looking for their next home. However, some people are looking long term these days, and they're looking, hey, I'm going to do it like mom and pop did. We're going to stay in the home for 30 years, get it paid off, and have a good interest rate, refinance over the duration of the loan. And so if that makes sense for you, then let's do that. Mm-hmm. Let's negotiate those seller concessions so that you keep money in pocket and you can use that money and utilize it to buy down interest points.
So one thing I want to talk about real quick, sorry to just jump in here, is most people say, hey, here's a listing price. I'm going to go in and I'm going to offer them $10,000 or $15,000 less. Well, they may do that, but they may not pay any of your closing costs or offer any concession for 2-1 buy down. Yeah. We really have to weigh the odds of what benefits you the most. And I've run the numbers. Lowering the price versus doing the 2-1 buy down or a permanent buy down is actually not your best option sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not your best option a lot of times because here's what's happening now. Now we went from this crazy overprice my listing, who cares, we're going to pay, people are going to throw cash, California, Colorado's coming in, and they're going to throw cash and overpay. We're in a market now where comps are truly matter again, and we're honing in on actual price points in neighborhoods. So a lot of times it's so important for you to have a trusted agent that is actually running true home value and what we know the home is going to actually appraise for. And why that matters is because when we have a true value on a home and it's listed for what the market's going for, then there's no reason to lowball them. There's no reason to undercut the price point and submit a lower offer. So when we submit a full price offer, what Jennifer's saying is now we can ask for full closing. And so instead of trying to lowball them on a price point, let's give them what they want, but ask them to help out also. And that's a really good benefit. They get what they're asking for, and you get some money to save in your pocket.
And Arthur says all the time,
Arthur. Who is this
Albert?
Arthur? I have so many personalities.
Yeah, he does. Albert says, date the rate, marry the house. So I would tell you, yes, rates may come down, but you need to be okay with the house, in love with the house, and okay with your payment. Who knows what this market's going to do? But they are saying rates will come down, but you need to be able to be ready for the payment that we have now.
Yeah.
And just be in love with the house and know that that's the house that you want.
Let's find the house that you love, because it's challenging to walk into a home and know this is it. So once we do that, let's worry about the numbers and everything afterwards, but let's find the house and the location that you're looking for. Okay, so there's a few different types of loan, and you can help with almost any type of loan.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So break down those real quick.
As far as purchasing a home, we can do a new construction that's already built. We are fixing to roll out at the end of this month a construction loan. Yes. So if you want to build a house, we also have a lot loan, where if you want to buy a piece of land and then you want to build a house, I'm going to be able to help you with all of that. Yes. Purchasing a house, we don't care if it's a mobile home, single wide, double wide, regular house, duplex, whatever. If you're an investor, we do that too.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Airbnb and investor homes, we can do that. If you're looking for some kind of income producing property, we can do that as well. So you name it, we can pretty much, other than commercial, we can finance it.
Okay, cool. And then all your standard loans, of course, conventional, VA, FHA. So Jennifer's amazing. We love working with her and her team. And just contact us. Call me Arthur or Albert, whatever you want. I've got so many names. Everybody calls me something
Those
different.
are the nice names, by the way.
Call me, text me, DM us, message us, whatever it is. Just get a hold of us and we'll sit down. Jennifer will be more than happy to spend some time with you and break everything down. So remember, I'm Albert Ramirez with the Ramirez team.
Jennifer Morris with All Western Mortgage.
And we're here to service your real estate needs. So call, DM us, contact us any way you can get a hold of us. We'd love to sit down and talk to you about your real estate needs and how we can put a plan together to get your family in the home of your dreams.